Hey everybody, today let's talk about diarrhea on carnivore, whether you just started carnivore and you're experiencing the adaptation to it, or you've been doing carnivore for an extended period of time and you still have diarrhea. Let's troubleshoot it, and I'm going to go over all the triggers and what you can do about each and every one. All right, here we go. If you have transitioned to a carnivore diet, have been doing the carnivore diet for months, diarrhea might still be something you need to troubleshoot. So let's go over all of the triggers. Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Zaldivar. I have a PhD in nutrition and exercise physiology from the University of Miami. I was featured on the first ever TV show on the carnivore diet called Reverse TV series. And I've taught for decades at the University of Miami, Miami-Dade College, DeVry, the American College of Sports Medicine, coached thousands of clients. You can check out the testimonials at drsarahzaldivar.com. I do specialize with raising baseline dopamine levels so that you don't have cravings and so that you're always motivated. And that's really how I managed to finally lose 30 pounds and maintain that for years now after struggling with emotional eating, sugar addiction, and all the works, yo-yo dieting. Alrighty. Diarrhea triggers on the carnivore diet. First of all, you do want to know that there is an adaptation phase where when you first start a carnivore diet, a lot of people, myself included, we go through a week or two of explosive diarrhea. It is not fun, but it is to be expected because your microbiome and your colon, they are adapting to not having fiber. Fiber usually absorbs the water, but now that you're not eating fiber, there's a lot more water, and the colon needs time to realize that so that it starts to reabsorb more water into your body. Something that I see a lot on a carnivore diet is that you start carnivore and you start doing dairy because you realize that you can have dairy. It's an animal food, and you might be consuming more dairy than usual, especially if you're consuming dairy products that are high in lactose, like yogurt, cottage cheese, and milk, and you have some level of lactose intolerance that can totally trigger a diarrhea or maintain diarrhea even after the adaptation phase has elapsed. Also, you might start eating foods that you are sensitive to, maybe in larger amounts than usual. So, what are the top food sensitivities, or some of the top food sensitivities? They include seafood, so fish and shellfish, eggs, dairy as well. So, all those things, if you're eating them at a higher frequency right now, that could be the cause. Also, you might have things like candida or SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, in a lot of times, I've reported on so many cases and studies whereby SIBO and candida is eradicated by a carnivore diet. But until that happens, you might still have the effects of that in the form of diarrhea. You can check out this case study that was really interesting, whereby a woman cured her candida on 43 days of a carnivore diet that consisted only of ribeyes and ground beef patties. I will make sure that I link this video at the end so that you can watch it if candida is something you suspect. Also, if you have candida and you're treating it with a carnivore diet, the candida die off as the candida or this yeast overgrowth in the gut is dying. It's going to lead to worse symptoms. So you might feel worse before you feel better. So it's really important to remember that so that you don't throw in the towel prematurely. Another very common trigger for diarrhea on a carnivore diet is coffee. A lot of us hold on very dearly to our caffeine habit. The problem with stimulants like caffeine is that they increase gut motility. So if you're doing things like coffee with creamer in it, like heavy cream or half and half, that's a double whammy, right? You've got the lactose, you've got the dairy, you've got the stimulant effect of caffeine. So you might want to cut that out and see if that is your trigger. All stimulants can also increase gut motility, so pre-workouts, fat burners, also nicotine lozenges, nicotine replacement pouches. Zyn is a very common nicotine replacement product that people love. That can be something that you're holding on to now that you've eliminated sugars and addictive foods and hyperpalatable foods. You might feel like it keeps you sane, but at the same time, it is a stimulant and that could cause diarrhea. Also, if you're eating too much fat, that can either go away with a little bit of adaptation period, so you can be a little bit patient with it, or you just might have to reduce the overall amount of fat that you're consuming. Also, if it's hot fat or rendered fat, that means liquidy fat that's very hot, is gonna pass very quickly through your digestive system, especially in the initial stages of adapting to a higher fat diet. And so either give it time or just do not consume melted hot fat. Just stick with cold fat initially, and then you can play around and see if you can handle hot or rendered fat later on. Also, you can speed up your body's adaptation to a higher fat diet by taking ox bile supplements because that's going to help you digest the fat faster. Very common supplements that people take are vitamin C and magnesium. Vitamin C supplements alone can trigger diarrhea, especially if you take a lot of them at one time. Magnesium supplements are particularly problematic, especially if you're taking magnesium citrate, but sometimes all forms of magnesium can cause diarrhea. So if you're taking any form of magnesium, be careful with that. That might be your trigger. But specifically, if you're taking magnesium citrate, that is a big red flag if you are still struggling with diarrhea. Now, food intolerances and sensitivities, we already touched upon that earlier, but I am going to add one more thing, and that is pork. That seems to cause some problems in some people as well. And if you are keeping in artificial sweeteners and sugar alcohols, such as maltitol, xylitol, erythritol, Splenda, asulfame, potassium, all of those artificial sweeteners or even natural non-nutritive sweeteners, so basically the fake sugars, they could all still cause diarrhea. And so imagine this person who's doing carnivore, but they're keeping their coffee with the cream, with the artificial sweeteners. So you've got a triple whammy there, and any one of those ingredients could be causing the diarrhea. A tool that I sometimes use with my clients is giving digestive enzymes because that can help the body adapt faster to a higher fat, higher protein diet. So you can take lipase digestive enzymes or just digestive enzymes in general that are targeted for ketogenic diets. They have the digestive enzymes that are specific to digesting fat and digesting protein. That can be very helpful. And this is my 30-pound transformation picture. And it is something that I struggled so much with, and thankfully I don't have to do that anymore. Mainly I did that by raising my baseline dopamine levels and following a sober meal plan. A carnivore diet can also be used as a sober meal plan that does not keep you in that addictive cycle. Now, if you are interested in learning more about the carnivore diet, I will send you a free copy of my guide, the 30-day Carnivore Diet Challenge Guide, when you sign up to my newsletter at drsarahzaldivar.com/newsletter. It is also linked in the description box below. And if you want to learn more about my protocol and how I was able to raise my baseline dopamine level, I do outline that in my guide, specifically the Dopamine Brain, Monster Mindset, and Monster Mind guide. You can find those in the bundles. If you get the bundle, it's a lot cheaper than getting each of the guides individually. You can find those in the fitness bundle, which include Dopamine Brain and Monster Mindset, and also Dopamine Body. Dopamine Body tells you how to create that caloric deficit, which I don't care what you've heard, a calorie deficit is absolutely critical to allow you to lose weight easily and not lose your mind, not realizing why you're not losing weight. Just because you went on a carnivore diet does not mean you're going to automatically lose weight unless you have hundreds of pounds to lose. But even if you do have hundreds of pounds to lose, you'll lose some, and then at some point you will have to be very careful about creating a caloric deficit so that you do not plateau. The other bundle is the brain bundle. The brain bundle includes Dopamine Brain, Monster Mindset, and this one, the Monster Mind, the supplement. So depending if you want to lose weight or if you just want to maintain your sanity, you can either choose either the fitness bundle or the brain bundle. But both bundles include Dopamine Brain and Monster Mindset in them, which are the two critical ones for raising your baseline dopamine levels. That was the topic of my dissertation at the University of Miami. That was what I spent 7 years studying, how to raise baseline dopamine levels, specifically when it comes to treating food addiction. Specifically, I worked on chocolate addiction and sugar addiction. And if you need more personalized support, check us out on drsarahzaldivar.com/coaching. And all the guides are on drsarahzaldivar.com/shop. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos if you like this type of video. And also let me know that you enjoy this kind of content by giving this YouTube video a thumbs up, subscribing, and hitting that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.